Hello friends, my name's Maddie, or Mad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, please hit a like and subscribe if you're interested to learn about the basics of sewing and fashion design. If you know me, you know I love a cute skirt moment, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a gathered skirt, and I'm also going to be going through how to draft up a skirt block. This skirt block will enable you to also make a fitted skirt as well as the gathered skirt. When I was in Melbourne, I visited this amazing new fabric store called the Fabric Lab. They offer such unique fabrics at their store. All the fabrics that I got were from Japan, and the fabric that I'm going to be using today for my skirt was from this store. And I knew straight away, once I saw that fabric, I knew I needed to make a skirt. The staff there are so friendly, the vibes there are really cool, and you can find really awesome fabrics at the store. The things that you're going to need to make this skirt are your fabric lining, your main fabric, craft paper, scissors, a ruler, measuring tape, a pencil or a marker, an elastic waistband that is the same measurements as your waist, a safety pin, and of course your sewing machine and an iron. So first you're going to take your waist measurement, then your waist to hip, and then your hip measurement, which is actually the largest part of your butt, which I don't have, and then the length of the skirt. Okay, so first you're gonna roll out your craft paper. You're gonna make sure that the edge of the paper is cut straight. What you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your hip measurements. You're gonna mark down 1 inch from the top of the craft paper. Now, typically when you're doing a skirt block, you would divide that hip measurement by 4, but because we're wanting to make a gathered skirt, you're just going to divide this measurement by 2. So my total hip measurement was 39 inches, so I'm dividing that by 2, marking out 19.5 inches, and then I'm just drawing that straight line across. So that straight line, that 1 inch from the top is my seam allowance. So then I'm going to mark down the length of my skirt. So I wanted my skirt to be long, so it's 32 inches. So now I'm just going to proceed to draw a straight line down from the top, making a rectangle block. And then I've added in my 1 inch seam allowance as well. So next what I'm doing is I'm going to mark out half of the measurement of my waist, but I'm also going to add 1.5 inches of tolerance. So my waist measurement was 27 inches divided by 2 is 13.5 plus 1.5 is 15. So that's where I'm marking out here. The reason why I add that 1.5 tolerance is because I don't want it to be too tight around the waist if I was to make a fitted skirt. Next, I'm going to mark down my waist to hip measurement. So mine was 6.5 inches. So just straight down from the waist line that you marked, you're going to do a dot for that 6.5 inch measurement. And then I'm going to mark out on the hip line that measurement. And that is my hip measurement. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect that hip to waist measurement. For my gathered skirt, I would literally be using this rectangle. So I'd mark the edge as fold. I'd fold the fabric and I would use this pattern block to cut the front and back pieces of my skirt. The reason why we use a rectangle shape for a gathered skirt block, or when we want to have a gathered waistband for the top, and we use that hip measurement for the top of the skirt, is because we're trying to make an extended waistband, so then we can stretch out that waistband to fit over the largest part of our body and cinch in on the waist. So if I wanted to make a fitted skirt block, I would simply fold this into half. I'd fold down that waist and hip line as well. and give myself a 1-inch seam allowance there. And this will essentially serve as my front and back piece for my fitted skirt. Of course, you'd need to cut on the fold of the fabric as well. So my fitted block, and then extended is my gathered skirt. First things first, cut out your lining if you have or want to use lining. I am literally using scrap cotton here. With the lining, it doesn't need to be perfect. I didn't even have enough fabric to cut on the fold. So I am just cutting out two front and back, two pieces, one for the front and one for the back, slightly larger than my pattern block. And then I'm going in and cutting my main fabric, which is this beautiful pleated fabric. On the fold, a front piece and a back piece. So unfortunately, my footage got cut off while I was making the waistband. But what you're basically doing to make your waistband pattern piece, you're drawing a rectangle. Essentially, your total hip measurement will be the width, and then the length will be enough length to cover your elastic. Plenty of seam allowance for a waistband, especially that length, because it's easy to fix it later. Now we're up to the sewing part, the fun part. First, you're gonna grab your lining and you're gonna sew down one side of your lining. This is about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the fabric. It doesn't need to be perfect. This is literally to attach the skirt together. So you're gonna do the same thing for your main fabric or your overlay fabric. You're just gonna sew down one side, just straight stitch. If you have an overlocker, I'd recommend that you also overlock the sides as well, or zigzag stitch on your normal sewing machine. Next, you're gonna change the stitch length on your sewing machine to the largest stitch length that you have. I just chose this, it looked really long, and you're just going to sew down the top of the skirt because you're going to create ruffles. So with that stitch, you're going to make sure that there's extra fabric to pull, and you're going to pull the bottom, tug on the bottom fabric, and you are going to ruffle the top of the skirt, like so. You're going to do the same exact thing with the main fabric. You're going to sew with that, the long stitch, just a straight line at the top of the skirt. And the same process is you're going to grab that bottom thread and you're going to pull and you're going to gather that fabric. So this is what your lining and your main fabric should be looking like, something like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay it out, and you're going to grab your waistband. You're going to line it up with the top, and then what you're going to do is you're going to stretch out those ruffles and make sure that the total length of the total width, of the top of the skirts are the same. So once the top is approximately the same size as your waistband, you're going to sew the lining and the main fabric together, and then overlock it if you can as well. Fun, fun, fun. Then you're going to grab your waistband and you're going to attach it to the main fabric, right sides together, and then you're going to stitch down about 1/2 inch to 1 inch from the edge. Then what you're going to do, you're going to grab the lining of the other side, just the lining, and you're going to attach it. So from the bottom of the waistband, so your skirt is not connected fully, but from the bottom of the waistband, you're going to sew a straight stitch down. Then you're also going to sew a straight stitch down of the main fabric. So make sure that you don't accidentally sew the lining and the main fabric together, unless you want to. So now you can go ahead and attach the top of the skirt. You can go over the lining and the overlay slightly. And then you can also overlock the side seams. So the lining and then the main fabric. Next, you're going to create your casing for your waistband. So we're nearly done, guys. What I would do first is I would take the waistband over to the iron and press the waistband down. So mine is just folded in half, and then about an eighth of an inch from the bottom, I am just sewing a straight line to make my casing. But I want to make sure that I'm going to leave a gap so then I can feed my elastic through. So now you're going to grab your elastic and a safety pin. Get a secure safety pin, one that doesn't easily come undone. You're going to then feed it through the casing of the waistband. Feed it through until you get to the other side. And then you're going to attach the elastic together using a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. I like to stitch over this a few times just to make sure it's secure. After you've secured the elastic into place, finish off your casing and sew that gap. Then the final step is hemming the bottom of the skirt, and you are done. Slay! This is the final skirt, looking cute as. Skirt is so awesome if you're learning how to sew. It's one of the easiest things that you can make, and learning a basic block of a fitted or a gathered skirt can really serve as a great foundation to lead you to whatever design you want to make. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video and I hope you learned something. If you're interested in more sewing content, please hit a like and subscribe to my channel. Peace!